radio, glowing magic transistor radio, glowing magic transistor.
Hello, YouTube and YouTubeettes. Welcome to another Beach Boys album review. Today I'm going to review that great classic Mike Love, Terry Melcher album, Summer in Paradise, released on August 3rd, 1992. This was released on Brothers Records. Producer is Terry Melcher. Now, this was after the aftermath of Kokomo being a huge success, which was it was originally a John Phillips song, but Mike Love and Terry Melcher wrote a lot of it, and then a lot of the previous album, and so they kind of had the power to be the main songwriters of this one. And outside of the two of them, I'm not sure any other Beach Boy really contributed much to this album. And I don't think Brian Wilson is on this album at all. So it's kind of an odd album, and I'm glad it's not their last. It was their last album for 20 years. So, but I'm glad they didn't end their career with this one. The album cover is an artist's portrayal of underwater with a whale painted by Robert Lynn Nelson. I think that, considering the music inside, the album cover is awesome. I love the album cover, and I give the album cover a 9 out of 10. Now on to the song. Track number 1 is Hot Fun in the Summertime, written by Sylvester Stewart, which was it's a cover of the Sly and the Family Stone from 1970. The original song is cool. The cover, I'm not a big fan of the production. The lead vocals are by Mike Love and Carl Wilson, and I think they do a good job vocally on it. I'm just not a big fan of the electric drums on this one, but the vocals are good. I think the strength of the song is the hook. It does a little lower because it's a cover, but overall I give this song a 5.0. Track number 2 is Surfin' by Brian Wilson and Mike Love, a remake of their first single that they released back in 1961. This is a fun cover. It's kind of got that 80s, early 90s. I think it's a little outdated, so probably more like an 80s rock production, which is decent. I do enjoy, if I'm in the mood and I'm listening to this, it's not bad, but it doesn't do quite as well as the original, I don't think. Anyway, I don't remember. I'm not going to go look for it, but it's very catchy. Mike Love sings most of the lead. Carl adds some as well, and got a nice rocking sound. I give it a 4.4.
I can't wait till the summer, 'cause it's gonna be a summer of love. Hey now.
Track number 3 is Summer of Love by Mike Love and Terry Melcher, sung by Mike Love. This reminds me of a Christian singer named Carmen, who was very popular about the time that this album came out. The style of rapping that Mike Love does reminds me of the style of rapping of Carmen. So look up a song called Addicted to Jesus that Carmen did. But anyway, I don't mind this song if I'm in the mood. It's pretty catchy. It's very low on the artistic side. The poetry I have is down to a 2. But it's got a nice hook. But, it's not a good song, but I kind of enjoy it. So, I'm not going to trash it too much. Overall, I give this song a 4.8.
There's a critical condition you got around the globe.
Track number 4 is Island Fever, written by Mike Love and Terry Melcher, sung mostly by Mike Love with a little bit from Carl and Al as well. I like Mike Love's voice on this song. There's an interesting filter on it that is kind of cool. I think it sounds similar to the songs on the Still Cruisin' album, and I don't know what year or when this was recorded, if this was an outtake from a few years earlier or if this was recorded, at this time. But very catchy. I think it's a little more solid artistically than a lot of this album. I gave it a 5. And even poetically gets a 4. So there's really nothing terribly weak. A lot of things are above average on this song. So I think it's a solid song, and I give it a 5.4. Track number 5 is Still Surfin' by Mike Love and Terry Melcher, and sung I think it's all sung by Mike Love, the lead vocal. This one is kind of, a little less, it's still got that catchy doo-wop sound and great vocals, but the production and just the songwriting itself is not very good. Poetically, I gave it a 2, just kind of more of some of the lyrics that Mike did in the 80s and 90s often were just reminiscing about the 60s and the surfing and, about the past. So it's not very creative. Yeah, a 6 in catchiness and in the hook as well. Overall, I give this song a 4.6. Track number 6 is Slow Summer Dancin' by Bruce Johnston and Danny Webb. Lead vocals by Bruce Johnston and Al Jardine. I think this is one of the nicest songs on the album. It's higher on the artistic side. Very good song. It might be my favorite song on the album. Bruce does a nice job on the vocals. Al also does a great job on the chorus, vocally speaking. This one gets actually a 7 artistically. Everything's above a 5 on this song, which it's the first song to do that so far. I really like the piano melody on this. I could do without the electric drums, but the piano is great. Overall, I give this song a 6.2.
She believes in God and karma.
Track number 7 is Strange Things Happen, written by Mike Love and Terry Melcher. This is sung by Mike Love with Al Jardine on the chorus. Mike Love does again a solid job on the lead vocal, but Al Jardine really kills it on the chorus, does an awesome rockin' vocal there. And this is actually a very good song, a very underrated song. Other than the production, I think it's solid all the way around. Artistically, it's pretty catchy and got a nice hook and better lyrics than most songs on the album. And I don't know who plays the guitar. I couldn't find out the info on that, but it might be Carl, it might be somebody else. I know Carl would be capable of playing that. But very good song. I give it a 6.6. Track number 8 is Remember Walking in the Sand, written by George Morton. This was originally recorded and performed by the Shangri-Las, and also covered by Aerosmith later. But this is a cool song. It's one that I've forgotten, and as I'm listening to it, it's It's got some cool things about it. Carl Wilson sings lead, and I like the effects on Mike Love's "Remember" section, and but there's a lot of this saxophone. I think this would have actually been a really cool recording 7 years earlier, like mid '80s, early '80s kind of production. But in '92 it was a little outdated. But it's a nice song. It's a cover, so it doesn't do as well, but it does pretty well for a cover. And I give it a 5.2. Track number 9 is Lahaina Aloha, written by Mike Love and Terry Melcher. Lead vocals by Mike Love and Carl Wilson. I think that it's a well-written song, but a crappy production. I can't stand the arrangement on this, but if you just listen to the melody and the flow of the vocals, Mike Love's vocals and Carl's, it's the making of a great song if it was well produced. But I can't stand this production. It's kind of a typical pop 80s adult contemporary kind of rock. But yeah, this has potential, but not very well executed. Overall, I give this song a 5.0. Track number 10 is Under the Boardwalk, a cover song written by Artie Resnick, Kenny Young, and Mike Love. I guess he added some more lyrics to the song. It's somewhat, I'll say that Mike Love's vocals are just kind of, he doesn't sound like his heart is fully into it, but Carl's vocals much more so. There is a little bit of artistic license that the Beach Boys put their own flavor on it, but not really one of my favorite songs on the album. It is a good song because, the original song was pretty good. It is a cover, and it does fairly well for a cover. I give it a 5.2. Track number 11 is Summer in Paradise, written by Mike Love, Terry Melcher, and Craig Fall. This is going to kind of surprise people, but I really actually like this song. Musically speaking, I know lyrically it's kind of cheesy, but as far as the first verse, way back when, our master plan, then it gets into kind of this ecological message. But musically, it's a very cool song. I'm not necessarily the production as much, although I like the accordion sound that comes in, which gives it sort of a cool vibe. But Mike Love sings most of the lead, and then there's this guy that comes in at the bridge section or the middle section that I don't recognize that voice. He's not one of the Beach Boys. So if you know who that is, leave it in the comments section. But I don't know why, but I really do like this song. I like the melody of it, and it's very solid. And overall, I give this song a 6.2. The last song on the album is Forever, written by Dennis Wilson and Greg Jacobson and sung by John Stamos of Full House fame. For whatever reason, a lot of people trash this version. They trash John Stamos, and it's not as good as the original, but I think it's a good cover of it, and it's a good nod to Dennis, and it actually gave fame to that song, because I don't know how popular of a song it was before this was done. So at least it brought some attention to Wilson. I think it's, for a late 80s, early 90s kind of rock song, it is pretty solid and well, the guitar licks are good. John Stamos has a decent. A lot of people hate his vocal, but I think he does a good job on it. So I'm not going to trash this song. But overall, I give this a 6.4. The album flow is an 8 out of 10. It's got a lot of consistency in the production and very, very solid throughout. And so it's kind of an ecological album mixed with, sort of a throwback to the 60s. This album overall, I think, gets a lot of trash. I think because a lot of people hate Mike Love. I try to be as fair as possible. I tell you what I think. It's not that I'm trying to defend Mike Love or anything like that. I probably thought I was going to hate this more than I did when I was reviewing it. This is one of the few albums I don't own, but there's things to like. I think the songwriting is not too bad. It's as much as the production. I'm not a big fan of the production. If they had maybe gotten like in Culture, like the '85 album, when they got the producer from Culture Club, if they did that with one of the producers like Bono, not Bono, whoever produced U2 at the time, or somebody like that, that maybe could give it a contemporary flavor that would work, might have been a little better in my point of view, but instead it was not much of different than the Still Cruisin' production. So if they had maybe stepped up the production a little bit, it might have been better, I think. A lot of the 60s musicians and producers were not very good past the 80s, so I think they would have been better off getting a contemporary producer or somebody that had done music of the time. But I think there's, if you listen to this, if you like the Beach Boys, if you like their vocals, it's and you forget about the artistic side of it, just listen to it to enjoy it. It's not too bad. So now I will pull out my handy dandy computer and calculate my formula. And this album gets a 5.86. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Someone to love every breath of your life. I wish for you.